I guess. So we have a quorum. I'm going to open the meeting at 1:02. Read the recording. This is Mickey Rowland, Chair of HSAB. Permit me to confirm that all members and persons that participated on the agenda are present and can hear me. When I call your name, respond. Jason?
Aye.
Angus?
Here.
And staff, when I call your name, Holly, you there?
Present.
Okay, thank you. And we have no anticipated speakers. So this is the open meeting of the Historic Structures Advisory Board. It's being conducted remotely, consistent with Governor Baker's Executive Order of March 12, 2020, to the current state of emergency in the Commonwealth due to the outbreak of the COVID-19 virus. For this meeting, HSAB is convening by video conference via Zoom app, as posted on the town's website, identifying how the public may join in. Participants may find information on the conduct of this meeting at that location. Each vote taken in this meeting will be conducted by a roll call vote. So, I don't see. Just going to jump around a little bit if anybody doesn't care. I see Ben Shampoo and Ben, which is yours?
Hi, everybody. So 17 Lincoln Circle is project.
Anybody mind if we start there? Okay. So let's go right to Lincoln Circle.
Thanks. I'll mute myself unless you need to talk.
Okay. So you guys looked at this one? I'll start in. I've got just a few thoughts on this one. If you go back to the site plan, Holly, please. There you go. To me, this looks like a bit of a parking lot in front of this building. 6 cars on a residential property seems like an excessive amount of parking, especially in a sort of a, semi-informal neighborhood. So I would like to see if that's possible then to reduce the number of spaces, maybe even go to one of those grass turf reinforcement solutions because they can't need 6 spaces all the time.
If we, or would you like me to respond?
Yeah, go ahead. The other one is the separate is on the back. So regarding the parking area in front, go ahead and respond to that.
Okay. Yeah, so this is client driven, and I understand, and I can certainly propose that we scale it back. Maybe the 2 spaces that are closest to the hedge could be turned into some sort of turf reinforced sort of additional parking, but not to be, not to be used, but it could be sort of overflow. Is that something that the committee would be amenable to?
I think it would be, that would, any reduction I think would be great. I could also, wouldn't mind thinking that maybe that because that intermediate hedge right between the house and the parking area, it's like the borderline between Belgian block and hedge and the house. If that could be, so it's just not Belgian block across the entire front of the property.
Right.
Is what it looks like.
So this, it is, and it was actually, so there were 2, this is a big Belgian block court traditionally, it's always been. And there were 2 driveways actually. There were two curb cuts. And it was a big Belgian block court. So this is in fact a reduction of scope and size compared to what it was.
Okay, I hadn't realized that it was similar to this before. So you're saying that whole you
The
know, left or
whole, yeah,
right?
the whole court, it was actually a little deeper because the house was closer to the, or the house was, I guess the house wasn't closer, but it had moved a little bit, I think 5 feet toward the bank. But the secondary curb cut was sort of over where the new guest house is. So you came in two ways, and the whole lower section was Belgian block. If you could probably see it if you looked on GIS from even in that one maybe. Yeah,
Yeah, it does look about the same.
yeah.
Okay. Well, if you could, you know, get rid of a couple of spaces, that would, I think, make a big difference.
Okay. I will.
Brooke or, Angus or Jason?
I agree about the parking, what you said about the parking.
Um,
Are we just looking at the parking? The pool's already set?
So the pool has been approved. This whole plan is in HDC now, but there was a previous application that went in with the building, and the swimming pool was approved in its original incarnation, and the pool was included in the site plan for the original building HDC application.
Thanks, Ben. Yeah, I think any reduction in the size of the parking's great. I appreciate that there's only, one narrower curb cut instead of the two, but the benefit of the two was that I guess it sort of hid obstructed the driveway and all the parking because there was a tree and some planting between the two curb cuts. I think you probably get a lot more parking efficiency with the single cut and being able to pull in as opposed to doing a circle. But there kind of were some benefits to that.
Okay.
If the spaces were going to get reduced, or if it could work with the old plan, I kind of feel like that left less wide open view of that much parking.
So I don't think there's an opportunity to go back to the two curb cuts because it's taken up by partially by the new configuration of the guest house. So it would just be one curb cut, but I can certainly attempt to reduce the scale of this. I'm not sure if I can visually change how the view corridor in from the road, though, to mitigate the view from the road to a parking court. But there is plenty of precedent for that all over Lincoln Circle. I think most people have this very similar condition.
Configuration.
Yeah.
Functionally, it makes sense if the drive-in was coming from one side or the other. I think it would screen it more, but this is maximum efficiency here.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm looking at these, the satellite view of it, and it shows many of them. I guess the one right next door has this big circular drive. The next few down have one side of you enter one side and the parking is to the left or right. So it's pretty common. If you eliminated one side, which would, I guess in this case would be the left side, it would be more similar to what the neighbors around you are like, because they have sort of a one-sided access. But I guess I'll just leave that as see what you can do best in terms of reducing the amount of Belgian block cobblestone, because it seems like a lot.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I agree.
So then on the back of the property, you've got this system of retaining.
Yeah.
I actually rode my bike down behind there and looked up, and the visibility is pretty limited, I have to admit. But it's still a concern of me that is it going to change much from the existing, what's there now, the vegetation that's there now in the slope? Is it going to come out further?
No, actually, not really. So that, let's see, if where it says sheet steel face with hemlock. So basically what the idea is, there is a wood timber retaining wall that runs pretty much in the same line as that proposed sheet steel. The idea is to drive sheet steel down basically in the same configuration as the existing timber wall, right in front of it, and then face it with wood so it's sort of forever, because once this new house goes in, this is the only opportunity to do anything to stabilize that, while it's a construction site. So the idea was to get something permanent in there and to be able to face it to make it look like the same thing it is now, but that it would be a kind of forever structure. So it shouldn't change anything from the road. The vegetation that exists on the bank will stay untouched. That's really the whole idea, but it allows for, some work. It allows for some work to happen on the interior of the property, and just not having to worry about it again, because we will lose access forever after this point. And then the stone retaining wall that's interior of that, there is an existing planting bed there now that we'll use. And that wall is pretty, it's really more of a garden wall. There'll be vegetation in front of that. So I don't think it's possible to see that from the road either, but it just allows for some flatter lawn. Even albeit with a slope still, but slightly flatter lawn around the house.
Well, my thinking about that stone wall, I get the timber, the sheet steel and the timber, and I couldn't even see from where I was looking, I couldn't even see the existing retaining wall. So I assume that that'll continue, that I won't see the new one.
Yeah, you shouldn't.
In the future. The stone wall sticks out above that a little bit, and it's almost impossible to tell right now if that's going to be visible.
Right.
I would really not want to see a wall of that length running through the entire property. So
right. Yeah. I honestly, my plan is to plant that very heavily so you wouldn't see it. I don't think you could see it anyway, but the plan is to plant that heavily.
Is there any way to start the slope, to have a little bit more of a natural slope starting within the lawn, so it's not maybe near the edge of the stone wall, just to drop it a foot or so, just to
well, it is. So we're 3811 at that's the flat lawn is pretty minimal if you look at it, and then the slope starts. That's as far as I could really bring it back and have something reasonable down to the stone wall. So we drop a couple of feet.
Is it flat right up to the top of the stone wall?
No, it's flat right up to that first 30, right where your cursor is. That's where it's flat, and then it starts to pitch off there toward the stone wall.
I thought those might have been existing contours. Those are proposed.
No, those are proposed contours.
Okay, all right,
Yeah.
better. Good. Jason, Angus, any concerns with this? No from Jason. Angus, you're good.
Yep.
All right. Thanks, Ben. I think we're pretty good with that. If you could try to get rid of a couple parking spaces.
Okay. All right. Thanks, y'all. I appreciate it.
All right. Thank you.
Okay. Take care.
Mr. Chair, I know we have the owner and rep for 16 West York here.
Oh, good. All right. Okay, let's do that next.
I'm trying to I'm unmuted, but I'm trying to get video. Hold on.
That work? We can
Yeah.
see you.
Yeah. Sorry, I totally forgot.
That's all right.
All
You're
good.
right on time. So 16 West York.
Okay.
Balmont.
Yeah, this is a lot between This is Jacob Martinson. He's not here, but his girlfriend Kim is here. Between his mom, who's Patricia McGrady, has a house right next door to him that's very similar to this, and then his grandparents' house. It's a lot off of West York Lane it's kind of sunk down. There's a somewhat concrete retaining wall on the street, and you step down into this lot. I don't know if you guys had a chance to go by there. So yeah. It's a basic box, really. And the lot slopes to the rear, as you can see. So there's a little bit of a height differential there. That's looking from the street over the wall into the lot. His mom is to the left. I don't know if I think there's a picture of that in there. Oh, shoot. My machine is printing. Sorry. That's his mom's. Mhm. Kim, if you're there, why don't you unmute? Or maybe not. So these are houses on the street. That's right across the street. That's his mom.
Yeah, the neighborhood pictures are very helpful to get the context here.
Oh, yeah.
Sorry,
Ooh. I'm sorry, I don't have it in front of me, so I'm not. Kim, what are the colors again?
so we were proposing doing a black sash, black door and shutters, and natural trim, but we have our backup options in case that doesn't get approved.
Okay. Angus, do you have any comments on this one?
Sure. I think that was helpful to see the context photos. It's simple, and I think that that's good. Just because the colors were brought up, I would lean towards the Essex green if the desire was to go for a dark trim as opposed to the black. There's something with the facade that seems like it's missing, like a window over the door.
Yep.
I think would just balance it out. I don't know what's up there, but
Oh, I looked at that, and it's basically a wall in the way. But you know, it would require redesigning the second floor, I believe.
it looks like it would just add a second window to the bedroom, the master bedroom.
Well, maybe I guess I was thinking about centering the three of them, but if you want to just add a window, maybe it would.
Yeah.
Well, the other example that showed up in the neighborhood shot is a simple, door in the middle, windows on either side and above, and that I think would, yeah. But there's a little bit of asymmetry in that photo. The front door is not in line with the ridge,
Right.
so it actually makes it a little bit more interesting. But yeah, I think what makes this feel out of balance is just that other window. And honestly, I think you could probably fit it
Yeah.
in there in the room still.
Okay.
But I think that it responds to the topography well, and not unlike all the other houses or a number of them in that area. The doors are probably not going to be visible from the basement are those sliders into the basement?
Yeah, and that is going to be retained with a concrete wall. So that, it's below the deck and behind the concrete wall, except where you walk in there.
My only concern is that wouldn't be visible from Atlantic. And I would have muttons in it.
Okay.
The same with the one on the deck.
Holly, sorry, can we scroll to the locus? Because again, I'm so sorry, I don't have this in front of me. Okay. Yeah, so there's a house between it and Atlantic Avenue. If you see on the locus maps. So I don't think you'll see those, but.
Where the hand is, I think would be the view back there
Okay,
from Atlantic. Yeah.
okay.
So maybe 12 light or at least 6 light French doors.
Okay.
That's all for me.
All right. Jason, thoughts?
I agree with everything that Angus said. I would just maybe, it's still kind of blank at the top in the gable ends. It would be nice if there was something up there, a window. It just is such a huge wall space with nothing there. And again, then I get concerned about if there is a view from Atlantic, what that looks like on the back, just because it's such a huge space.
How would you feel about like a wooden vent or something? These guys are young and don't have a whole lot of money, so we're trying to do this as inexpensively as possible. His grandfather, Jack McGrady, is giving him this piece of property, so he's
But Holly, can you scroll to the pictures of the other houses, please? Is there something back there? I
There
think it's a
looks like
window.
there's,
like a grate or something.
actually it looks like a diamond in the,
Oh,
see
yeah,
that?
pattern.
yeah, pattern. That's pretty
Pattern.
cool.
Okay.
Yeah, that's just one story. I know they are basically plain, but I mean, that's got a huge window. I don't know. That's just my feeling. It's just a big, big blank wall space.
All right. I mean, I'm going to echo their comments myself. I think that the extra window, the new window would be really beneficial. Not as concerned about the back, but I think the upper door, maybe more so than the lower door in the back. I'd love, probably good to see some buttons in there. Right there, yeah. And just again, also the black sash, not something we like to normally see, but I think Essex green would be great. And just a comment, Val, about when you look at the floor plan versus the elevation, this is just a technical thing. See the stoop for the front door? It's all
Yeah.
kind of lopsided to the side. Now look at the front elevation. It's showing centered.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Just-
Yep.
I assume you'd want this
Gotcha.
centered
Yep.
version. So that's it. That's all-
Oh,
Oh, we are in the old historic district. I know maybe the neighborhood is maybe a little bit of an exception, but should we be thinking about TDLs at least on the front elevation of this house? Because you're asking for SDLs, I think.
right. And we talked about that a little bit. I think they'd be okay if we had to doing the TDL on the front. Kim, are you still there? No.
That's obviously not our ideal scenario, but we understand if it has to be the front windows, we'll do it.
I think it's just that we've consistently tried to do that in the past, so we should try to
Yeah.
stick to it.
Yep.
I have one comment about the windows. If they're true divided light, most likely they're not going to be insulated true divided light, which means there's a storm covering them all over. I just wonder if the net result isn't any better having insulated windows without the storm, that the muttons are articulated and seen from the outside.
Well, that's always the debate, you know, and I hear it, and I think maybe in this case, considering the neighborhood, it's considerable. So
They're
I'll leave that
also a fraction of the price.
yeah. So just leave that as a question mark, Val. Not sure it's a
Okay,
definitive request, but just bring up at the board level, I guess.
okay, great.
So,
Thank you.
all right, thank you. I think you're good.
Okay, thanks a lot.
All right.
Have a good one.
You too.
Bye.
What else we got? Jason, you wanted to do 125 Main Street and 10 Union. Go to 125 Main.
Yeah, I mean, it's fine. I mean, that was just, if you want to start, just keep going from the beginning on them. But those were just ones I had.
Well, without Brooke coming on, we're going to lose our quorum.
I can probably stay, like, I don't need to leave at quarter. I could probably go, I'm going across the street, so it's not that big a deal. I just can't be late or else I'll be hung by my toenails.
So Ethan is proposing this. I don't see him here. So Jason, what do you think?
Can we go to the,
So it's adding a dwelling to the existing shed in the front. Is that?
can you go back to the now photos and
Right here.
so we're adding to that?
There's a shed. Yeah, we're putting it on the front of the shed.
It's the house that's behind the hedge, right?
It's a house that looks like it maybe was a barn at some time. Has that
Yeah.
barn look to it. And apparently the house that was there on the front of it was moved away. Is that?
That's what it
Yeah.
looks like. Nice Victorian.
But
I know. It's 129, 127, 123,
and we're
Yeah,
talking about 125
125.
because that looks like
That doesn't look
I
like
don't
on
think
Main
that's
Street.
right. Is
I don't
that
think
right?
it is. Yeah, I
That
know.
looks like what's her name's house?
Mhm.
Esther, she used to teach piano. Am I wrong? Maybe, well, maybe her house is on the other side. Can you show me the plans?
That's Quaker Mile or Quarter Mile Hill. There we go.
Oh, her house is on the other, her house is this side of
This
Quarter Mile.
side.
It's the, to the right. Sorry, I didn't understand this one very much.
No. I didn't either. So
so
I still don't understand what's going on, actually.
want me to come back to you, Jason?
Yeah, because I really don't understand what's going on. So I'd like to hear what you guys have to say first.
All right, Angus?
Are there elevations of the house from Quarter Mile?
The picture there, lower right.
The reason I ask is, like, what is the front of the house? And you would imagine that it's facing Main Street because this opens up onto Main Street, but it's, that's not, that looks more like the side of a house rather than the, I'm just trying to get the orientation because
Did they, sorry, did they separate the lots? Is there a main house and a,
I don't think so. I think it's In fact, the house that we're looking at, I think is a studio. I don't even think it has a kitchen in it.
So looking at the locus, there's the house and there's the existing shed with the addition that's on it. So this is what we would see from Main Street.
To be that close to Main Street
Mhm.
without orienting towards Main Street, I think is awkward. And the way this would normally work is the main house, the larger house, would be the front and center, and then the auxiliary building would be off to the side or in the back.
Mhm.
And so this sort of configuration, I think is generally discouraged. But you know, if you were to say that, oh, okay, the house is up on the corner of Main and Quarter Mile, and it's this house, then where is the real entry onto Main Street or the facade for Quaker Hill? And it seems like that's, you're kind of looking at the sides of that in both those elevations of the proposed structure.
Well,
I guess programmatically, this looks inappropriate.
yeah, you're hitting on what the same thing that I was concerned about is he's proposing what's sort of like a carriage house, but it's a carriage house to what also kind of looks like an old converted barn. So there's no real like main dwelling here, and it also doesn't face front on or address Main Street at all. It's all
Right.
hidden behind a hedge. It opens up to Quarter Mile, but only with a fake garage door or barn door, which I don't think opens, which is fine. But I was just sort of wondering about, why doesn't he just propose a cottage with a front door facing Main Street and forget it's not a barn, you can't drive anything in here. And why not just propose a cottage facing Main Street with normal fenestration and doors? I don't know, I guess that was sort of what I was wondering about. Also, in detail, you look at that west elevation, the lower right-hand one, the round window and the big transom door, window and door, sliding doors. None of that to me is working for me, because that will be visible. So, Jason, do you want to add anything else?
Yeah, no, because that's I was just getting confused by the whole thing. I just think it's not, it's like you said, it's it almost looks like two outbuildings thrown together, and it's just not, I mean, it's just not appropriate for that area. It's going to be right in your face. Quarter Mile Hill is private going along it, but it's right at the beginning. I think it just makes the whole lot still more awkward, and the street view more awkward because you don't understand what's going on with it. And I think it needs to be redesigned with a look towards the fact that it has to somehow face Main Street. I mean, you're right there with like really significant houses.
Yeah, it feels out of place and sort of awkward.
Yeah, it just is not right, particularly to the right side of Quarter Mile Hill.
I'm trying to figure out these structures that are shown.
That's why I feel like it's not.
Yeah, but I will say that the NHL data does indicate a date for 125 Main. Got two dates here, 1840 and 1998. So 1998 correlates with this photo that he's showing with this structure going down the road. So maybe it did get moved off, because that looks very similar, right? To that gable end. And 1998 is what we see here. Doesn't really give us a date of that outbuilding. But I don't know about you all, but in 98, the HTC approved this structure in this streetscape type of setting on Main Street. I'm
It's
a
very
little lost.
I think they were too.
So I mean, I thought that this was part of the house next to it going up Main Street. That's was
But instead of
part of the
being,
lot, the
gable
house that
end.
you see there.
yeah, instead of being gable end facing the street, we're ridged towards the street and set back, which is not in keeping with how Main Street has been. So it's a little confusing.
It is confusing.
And I think then they're adding to the confusion.
Yeah, I'm just gonna leave it as I've got written down. Why not just go with a cottage rather than a carriage house, first of all? And maybe have a front presence on Main Street.
I think being that close to Main Street, it has to orient it to Main Street. Like, here's your front door and here's your stoop onto Main Street kind of thing.
Breaking the hedge, the usual approach, presentation on Main.
I don't think the guest house on the lot next to it going up Main Street, I feel like it has a bay window on the front. It doesn't have a front door, but it's visually appealing. It's a nice little structure. Could do
I
something.
think you're right
too.
that you go onto that porch for the entry, maybe next door.
Yeah, the door is not, I can see it on street view. The door is not facing Main.
Okay. But it's still, it's a, I hate to use the word cute, but it's a cute little kind of guest house. I mean,
Yeah.
I just, that there's examples of what they could do right around it.
You know, they obviously don't want a big dwelling. They don't even want a dwelling. They just have a studio.
No, and that's fantastic, but I think they need to do a better job of making it less confusing.
Hey, Brooke. Hi, Brooke.
Hey guys, sorry.
Oh, thanks for joining us, Brooke. How are we doing?
Excellent.
So, Brooke, do you want to comment on this 125 Main? That's what we're on now. Did you look at this?
Yeah, like a little while ago, I think we had a shed proposed for this lot. Do you guys remember that?
No.
No? And everybody was up in arms about it. So I was just kind of curious what the difference is here, especially given that this is forward on the lot.
Was it for that shed that's existing in the property now? Right there? That could be new.
Yeah, okay. So it's being, all right. So it's being incorporated.
Yeah, that's going to stay, and they're going to put this little sort of like a carriage house thing
Gotcha.
in front of that.
Gotcha.
Just to bring you up to speed, Brooke, what our concerns were is that they're not connecting, it's up close to Main Street, yet it's not fronting on Main or addressing Main at all. It's just,
Right. It's addressing Quarter Mile Hill.
yeah, and even with, it's a carriage house, it's got barn doors facing Quarter Mile. So it's,
Yeah. I think this is a nice looking building. This circle is a little out of place, but doesn't bother me too much.
well, we're kind of hoping it would be more, at least I was, more cottage looking than carriage house. Because it just seems like, why go there? They're not even proposing to use it as such. So why not just put a cottage in with a door facing Main Street and breaking the hedge? So, what you normally expect.
Well, where would the door be? I guess you'd be going into
The master.
you'd be walking right into the bedroom, huh?
Yeah, but that door could be closed forever.
Yeah. They've got a fake door facing Quarter Mile.
Yeah, and you'd be walking out into a wall of hedge.
I think it could be, they might have to rearrange the floor plan, but I think it could be worked out a little bit more.
Yeah, I'm coming around to your viewpoint. Maybe like a little covered stoop facing Main Street.
Something, yeah, good. It's a small, charming building that could be really cute facing Main.
Yeah.
So. All right. I think we can probably move on to How about 10 Union? A little bit out of order here.
Mix it up.
Let's go.
Angus, you know this building?
Where are we?
10 Union?
10 Union. I think I remember working on some curves and some chimney and
Yeah,
You got a history.
Bach and Dubach.
yeah. Hanging out in the crawl space.
That has really cleared out. It's so wild to actually see the house from Union Street.
Yeah, I think they're doing a great job.
So, Joe,
Hi,
hi.
did you want me to weigh in on what we're looking to do here?
Yeah, just give us a brief explanation.
Sure. Well, my client wants some more doors to access the yard. And by the way, I know we're not talking landscape, but he does have a plan to screen that a little bit more from Union Street, but a lot of that was just overgrown and getting destroyed. So he bought the property mostly because of the yard. So the intent here is to try to take advantage of that garden. So there are on the north elevation, which faces the side there, there's existing triple casements that are there. And they have these peculiar shutters that flank it that don't actually close, and they can't close and cover the fenestration on that elevation. And those bays, by the way, are added to the building. They're not original to the building. I have a photograph and a floor plan if you're interested if you want to take a look at it. But those bays, I actually like the bay. I think that it is appropriate to the house. It sort of feels like an English cottage. And so where we're proposing is to remove those casement windows and replace them with a pair of French doors that will open up to that side yard. So that's change number 1 on the north elevation. And change number 2 is a single door on the top right of this that comes off the kitchen. I think for context, the site plan, if you don't mind looking at the site plan just for a second. Yeah, so the bump that pops out towards Union Street is the dining room, and then the porch is where the front entryway is underneath that. And we're proposing a door right where it says LP tank, kind of yeah, thank you, right there, just for context. So it's on the same plane as the front door of the house. And currently we're not showing any landscape differentiation. My client is planning on trying to screen that corner of the front yard, and I guess that's where they're planning on doing their dining. But there's no landscape plan at the moment that captures a patio or anything that they want to do, but this is in anticipation of that landscape plan being worked on. Yeah, thanks. So that's the door that's being proposed. It's purposefully differentiated from the front door in terms of its bottom panel height, and it matches the other door on the east elevation that is existing that enters into the kitchen. So those doors are opposite one another. Yeah, thank you for navigating around there. And that's it. There have been some other minor fenestration changes that were approved already mostly on this dormer on the east elevation. And so I think this is the first time I've sat in front of you to review it. This was on consent at the HDC and then got pulled off. So presumably because somebody wanted to talk about it. I don't know if it was a member of the historic structures or the HDC.
Can we, sorry, Mickey,
Go ahead, Jason.
can we just have clarification? Because I can't remember the date of the building.
Yeah, I have I have a historic structures that shows it. It references a 1923 plan and a 1949. So I think it's somewhere in the 20s. I have, can I screen share just for 2 seconds?
Absolutely. Hold on.
Is that possible?
Yep. Go for it.
Because I also would like to know what the date is of the bays on either side of that, flanking that chimney.
Brooke,
Ah,
did we build those bays? I almost remember pouring footings and building walls for those.
yeah, I'm not gonna, hold on a second. Let me see if,
Yeah, the NHL just says 1930, so it's obviously they're not 100% accurate on that.
yeah, this won't answer your question, Jason, but here, I'll share my screen with you. Do you see that?
Yeah.
So that photograph, hard to date what this photograph is. This is pulled from NHA, so I guess I could find it. But that is before the bays were added, obviously. And then this is an early, this was hanging on the wall when they bought the house. This is the floor plan of the original house where a good 50% of it was a garage, actually, accessed off of, I think that's Coffin Street. So the fireplace is existing, and this does not show those bays, and neither does this later photograph. So
Yeah. Yeah, it's like, looks like it could be anywhere between like early color photo 40, late 40s into the 60s, it looks like.
yeah, and then when it was added, I think that even though the casements are slightly unusual, they seem to fit the cottage style feel
Yeah.
of this. So,
It
and that's
reminds
what
me
we're
of
hoping.
Royal Barry Wills or whatever.
Oh, yeah, actually,
Yeah.
yeah, it does.
Max
Well,
Berry.
Yeah, it's
so those
totally-
doors, those French doors with the panel, I don't think my client is necessarily hung up on the door style that we've proposed. We just used it because there was an existing door to the kitchen on that east elevation that happens to have that same door style with a wood panel on the lower half of it. Well, actually,
Holly,
sorry,
can you
there's,
pull the drawings closer, like where that, in particular, sorry, I'm hogging, on that chimney mass and where the proposed doors are. Just the French doors coming off the chimney, around the chimney.
yeah, there's a set of existing French doors, and then we're proposing ones that match it. Although I think my client would be fine if there was a wooden panel on the bottom of those doors and not full height glass, even if the glass ended up being the same height as the current casements.
Could you,
But we've got them.
Sorry,
Anyway, that's it.
could you show the drawing, Holly?
Yep.
Thank you.
What's the visibility off a Union?
Yeah, I think it's quite visible there.
Yeah.
Oh, it's visible.
My thinking about this is that to me, those two flanking units to me, they look like bay windows. And I think the casements I think are appropriate. I think they look good. To put doors, you just don't normally put doors on the face of a bay window. I just can't get around that aspect of it. I mean, I don't mind the extra glass if they could be maybe just more casement window, a little bit longer, deeper, a little bit wider. But Joe, I think you mentioned that they wanted access to the yard there, so that's why you're putting doors. But to me, it feels like doors are awkward in a bay window. Anybody else?
No, I agree.
Brooke?
Yeah, I think my first impression is just that the doors are a little too wide for that, for those bays. And while I agree with you, I think that if there's a real push for doors, I think that they could be narrower so that the light pattern more closely resembles the proportions of the glass, in the adjacent windows and doors. I think that right now it seems to kind of diverge a little bit from the cottage aesthetic. And I think that just by making them narrower and maybe giving them a panel too on the bottom, I think it would help make, just kind of downscale it and keep it feeling like a cottage.
Could you make it so that you just, and maybe this is what you're saying, Brooke, you just extend them, keep them the way they are, extend them all the way down to the ground, but make it so that two of them function almost as a door and maybe one of them still opens? I'm thinking of like English country.
Yeah. So
like two open,
yeah.
like.
And you could have a panel on the bottom of those too.
I don't even care about the panel as long as it looks like it's kind of glass kind of casement kind of feeling, but then open so you can step out of them.
Right.
Can also open, but it might go floor to ceiling or whatever.
Yeah, kind of like greater light. I think they have. Don't they have like a door or two like that where it's almost like you're just stepping through
a so it's
window.
Gonna be a little tighter to walk out, but it's not like you have to walk side.
Right, but you can open up both of them.
Yeah.
So that's kind of what I was getting at. A little bit more, keep it more like the English country style that it is. And
so it still looks like what's there. It's just that they just run down to the ground.
The French doors just seem like a typical response in a building that requires something a little bit, it's an opportunity to be a little bit creative. And
We're saying I'm being insensitive, Brooke.
Joe, I know you're a sensitive guy, and
I like the suggestion that I like the suggestion. I think that's an interesting way to achieve the access to the yard that the client wants and maintains the aesthetic. Yeah, and definitely the doors that are there feel like they overwhelm that bay a little bit. So I see, if it's a triple and that whole thing, they could open up two of those. Yeah, I think that's an interesting solution.
Yeah, kind of keep it cute.
I think, typically the windows push out from the building with bay windows, but then doors recess. And I think it really just comes down to, helping with weathering and keeping them tight, keeping them out from the weather. So I think it's counterintuitive to push a door out away from the face. And in that respect, it would be great if there were a recess, and I'm trying to think of how that could happen so that you still have the bump out and that's the cover, but maybe the doors recess back to the wall plane in some way that makes sense. But that way, and I would do glass at the top and a panel at the bottom. But if there's a way to make those interesting bump outs that break up that whole face, to make those more into awning and enclosures for doors that are recessed, maybe.
I have to go, but I'm going to say Royal Barry Wills again. I think if you just go and look at his stuff, I mean, because his house speaks to that. Sorry, I got to go, guys.
Thanks, Jason.
Thanks.
Bye.
So I guess you lost me a little on that explanation, but it's what I'm hearing is sort of like three panels of, they almost look like big casement windows that you can use as doors.
Yeah.
No, I mean, what I'm suggesting is French doors maybe a little bit narrower than what is shown. And maybe it's more like the glass pattern that are in the windows, where it's too wide and 4 long with a panel below it. But basically narrow French doors that get recessed back from the face of the bay. The bay, as you pointed out, is really for windows. And rarely for doors. So I'm just thinking about pushing the doors back in the plane of the gable and having that roof and side be more like an awning than a little, just a little indentation.
Like a porch roof turning into.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I wonder too if, well, that's an interesting thought because the floor space in there isn't, well, that's an interesting thought. That becomes more of a porch than, that's the second floor. I think yeah, there you go.
And the doors then swing out, but they're underneath rather than swinging out to outside.
Yeah.
And that's actually makes even more sense with the little side windows in there too. Those could still stay there.
Yeah, it's an interesting concept. I think that's probably a pretty viable alternative, and I'm not sure where. I guess, Joe, you're hearing what we're suggesting, and when this comes up at the HDC, you could discuss the various options. I think what we're basically saying is this current French doors that you're proposing are maybe something that needs adjusting, and maybe a couple different directions to go in.
Yeah, and I actually like the suggestions I'm hearing too. So my inclination is to draw them and have them at the HDC meeting and even run them by my client to get his endorsement. He loves the house, and he's not trying to alter the character of it in a great way. And I think what you've said will look better than the doors that are there, frankly. So we were heading in that direction initially, but I thought that might be unusual to do such skinny doors. But now after thinking about it and hearing all your comments, I think it makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, this is not your
Achieves what he
average,
wants.
not your average Nantucket house. So I think this is, I think that might be appropriate.
Okay, well, thanks for your feedback.
All right, thank you, Joe.
Thank you,
All
Joe.
right, thank you.
All right. Back to the top of the agenda, we have 20 Lincoln.
Right.
Yeah, I actually rode by this and I couldn't quite understand what's going on here. Why are they proposing rolling gates? Is this are they going to turn this into a parking space, or I don't know, it's also 52-inch high gate, as I understand. Yeah, 52 inches to match. Or some other, maybe that's 52. I don't know, it just seemed like an odd application. Rolling gates to the side yard. It's not a driveway, or maybe they're going to turn it into a driveway. So I guess I had is this for a parking space? Why such a long gate instead of the usual pedestrian swinging gate? 52 inches is too tall. Also, what is just mechanically, how does it work? I've got a feeling it's going to require a little more structure than she's showing. And is there going to be a change to the lawn to catch a wheel or something to roll across the yard for a gate? So what do you guys think?
I don't think it's appropriate. It's too high. And a rolling 12-foot gate into the side yard, I don't think there's precedent or justification for it.
So does anybody know where the photo is? It looks like photo 19. Where if you go all the way down near the bottom, second or one up from the bottom. Yeah, that one. Where's that? Top shot. Oh, 16 Lincoln. Okay. Sorry.
Oh, yeah. So what do you think, Brooke?
Trying to think of why one might have that. I mean, the pool is there, so maybe it's like a maintenance gate. And yeah, it's hard to think of why, but I don't know that 52 inches is appropriate. I could see maybe a like a lower swinging gate, you know, that maybe wasn't 12 feet wide. But I think that if they had some representation here to answer this, that'd be helpful.
All right,
Is there a gap in the hedges right now?
there is. Yeah.
It looks like in that photo below the plan there, it says gate location. I think it's the,
Which
Oh,
photo?
so there is a gap. Yeah.
there, yeah.
So it's just kind of a privacy for the side yard.
Yeah, but why a rolling gate? I mean, why do they need?
It looks like it's bermed, so they can't have a swinging gate.
Maybe.
Yeah, there's a little hill. Like if you zoom in, you can see that it berms up.
I didn't
So-
get that impression when I was up there, but
Oh, really?
could be.
Yeah, that looks like a mound. Well, you know what? It doesn't bother me. A rolling gate. I mean, the building is, you know, there's just a lot of stuff going on already, and I think a rolling gate would be appropriate. Maybe not 52 inches tall,
Mhm.
but maybe a little less plain as well. You know, again, this is like a pretty high style building, and so, you know, maybe if they are going to propose something like this, that it be a little bit more, a little less plain. So that's what I would do.
Okay. All right. More detail on the gate.
Yeah, and maybe representation is helpful just to help us
But
understand.
what could possibly be the justification for 12 feet instead of 3 or 4 feet? The pool is, you know, like you have to go through a 3-foot passageway to get to the pool.
Yard equipment? I don't know. That's a big opening for a lawnmower. So, all right, let's move on to 25 North Water. I'm not even sure which windows. This is Windows Williams. Another sort of vague application. There's a photograph that shows X's next to maybe 3 windows on the second floor. Not sure where that photo is. What's this one? New rear window, replace gable window with casement for egress window opening. Not visible. So I guess that's the window she wants to turn into a casement. Says it's not visible. So those two are two or three X's. She's implying that some of the windows are Brasco, and when you look at the photographs of the windows, one of them, a couple of them might have sort of metal or vinyl jams. One of them does not look like it does. So the window picture is,
Well, also, there was a period there where people were taking old sash and putting in vinyl or aluminum jams with new balances instead of dealing with weights and stuff. So it could be original sash. I just like when I see Linda's name and the idea of old windows going away, it makes me sick. I'm thinking about Lily Street where there was a proposal to replace two windows in the back, and I photographed all the windows in the house, and they're all new now, and they were all old. They were gorgeous old windows. So I would say, where's the window survey? What's the age of the windows? But I don't know where that's going to go. If it's going to go the way of Lily Street, where they just go away.
yeah. Well, Holly, there's a picture of some windows, and it's maybe the second, third. Yeah, there it is. Yeah. So you can see the lower left. That looks like vinyl or metal jams, balances. And maybe the one to the right, maybe it's the same window. The upper one doesn't look like vinyl.
That's vinyl
On the right,
on the right.
is it?
Yeah,
Okay.
it's a plowed sash, and the only one to me that looks like it might be an original window is on the next page. When you scroll down,
Yeah.
that's an original window.
Yep, I agree.
But I think the other ones, it might be that there was a new sash, new balance thing. But those do look like they might actually be plank windows at the same time. So without like going there and looking at them myself, it's
Yeah.
the photos are helpful, but they're not like
Mhm.
they're not of the kind of things that would help us.
Survey.
Yeah.
All right, so I'm going to say needs a window survey. Also, the windows with the newer balances, I think we're okay with replacing those, right?
Yeah, I mean,
And then there's one window that looks old and should remain. And then she's proposing a casement window. I think we want to know what that means and looks like. So we need more information on the casement window. Right there.
so for the
Window
gable,
schedule?
Well, we need a window schedule, like everybody else provides.
yeah, I think a window schedule is helpful.
Isn't that required?
It is.
Yes, it is. And this, based on the NHL data, is a late 1700s typical Nantucket.
Okay, we good there?
Yes.
Next, we have 4 East Lincoln. Holly, did Lucy send some comments about this one?
Yes. Let me get this up and then yes, she did email me. Sorry, I got a lot of windows open here.
I get it.
Let's see. Her questions were, where's the spa pool equipment placement? About the pool or outdoor lighting, and what is the rectangle behind the chaise? And recommend moving the pool and outdoor shower so that they aren't so close to the neighbors.
Okay.
So was this building move approved? And is there going to be something going in front of this pool? Because
Mhm.
it's very visible.
It is, and I assume that that's correct. They moved this building kind of recently, I think, didn't they?
Mm, there's a building that got moved down on Hulbert Avenue, but it was a garage.
I think this got moved on the lot. Maybe look at Street View. Might have an old picture of it. Yeah, even this GIS or the satellite view, I think, shows the building up on the street. And it's been moved back and rotated. So yeah, I'm sure they're going to put another main house up closer to on the street.
Yeah.
Still on the spot.
Well, I mean, it would stand to reason that we would maybe wait for that to come in because of this visibility. I mean, I don't know if, you know, if we have to look at it as is right now, I think that I don't know that you're going to be able to hide it.
Well, not with privet hedge, they're not going to, which is what they're proposing.
Yeah. I mean, they show a 48-inch high picket fence, but I don't know, it just seems a little visible without something else in the front of it.
Yeah.
The issue is this is under 700 or 7,500 square feet. So the window is closing on the pool.
Yep.
It would be a lot more appropriate for there to be a building in front, and most likely there will be.
Mhm.
But right now it just seems so awkward for this pool to be just like, looks like it's out in the front yard with a building beside it.
Right.
It
Yeah,
makes
I forget about the 7,500.
it makes me uncomfortable. I wish there were a lot more screening around it.
Yeah, like a forest.
Yeah. I mean, if nothing else, they got to put something else besides privet in front of this thing. Something more
Yeah.
dense.
Well, then let's just make that our recommendation, that without a building in front of it, that this should be heavily vegetated and screened, and not just privet and a couple of pear trees.
Got it.
And that we understand why they're pushing the pool. I mean, I don't think that we shouldn't be empathetic of the situation, like Angus pointed out.
Well, that's all fine, and we understand the motivation and reasoning here, but still, they wouldn't guarantee they're ever going to put a house there.
Yeah. Well, let's put a forest there.
Before.
Got to be some pretty regal Prince Oak hedge there.
Those are royal, dude.
All right. Next we have 6A Silver Street.
The day of spas and pools.
Yeah. You know, I just don't know how visible this is, because you can look when you go down Dover and look over into that sort of vacant territory. It's not fronting on Dover, but you look through that space, and I think you can see into this area. Because I know you can see those houses up on Silver Street.
Well, that big parcel that's open, was that Dick Cumby's land
Was it? Yeah.
a little while ago?
Kind of surprised it hasn't been built on yet, unless it's a wetland.
Might be helpful to have a topo for this.
It is a topo, isn't it?
Oh, that is topo, right? Sorry. Duh.
I definitely think this is going to be visible.
Certainly year round.
Yeah, a photo from Dover Street would have been helpful.
Yes. Now you go on Street View, which shows up, and it shows it pretty densely vegetated, but that's when it's all leafed out.
And that's as long as the vegetation is intact.
Right.
Well, the other argument is that it's pretty small.
Well, it's not that small. It's not. It's a pretty. Look at the site plan. It's a pretty good sized pool.
Oh, geez. Aha, I was looking at spa equipment.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Well,
And it's got a bluestone patio all around it. It's
Yeah.
you know, it's just something we really don't want to see at
Yeah.
all.
well, I think, there's been a lot of push, having experienced it from the application end of things,
Yep.
to move away from that 9x15, 9x13 set of dimensions to something more like, 8x8 or 7x10, just shrinking it down so it's an actual like 6-person spa as opposed to like a 10-person spa pool.
Mhm. Well, certainly size would help.
Yeah.
I think they have to do a lot to screen this thing from West Dover for us to be happy with that one.
And the more surround there is, the less opportunity for screening to sort of close this in. Because even if they plant around the border of it, the more border there is, the of bluestone, I mean, around the spa, the higher the growth has to be around it in order to screen it.
Yeah. Okay. All right, so I'm going to say this needs to be viewed from Dover and Silver Street. I got a feeling maybe you might even be able to look down the hill up on Silver Street, looking down into this backyard, although I'm really not, it's not clear. So, I mean, maybe they need to stake it and view it. That might be helpful. So I'm actually going to say that with stakes, view it from both those streets with stakes. And the visible, the spa is too large and bluestone is not appropriate. I'll just add needs very heavy screening.
If it's a woody, vegetated environment there, work with it and have this sort of be a pool in the woods kind of thing, rather than the typical, surround and open area. It could be a cool sort of hidden treasure.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think you're looking through the woods. The street view is really vague, really unclear. So it looks like it's in the proposed area is in an open yard. But the woods are on the other side of that fence, maybe. I don't know, it just needs to be viewed. Okay, anything else?
Nope.
Okay. Did we get them all?
Did we do North Water?
Yep,
25 North, yeah, Linda
Yep.
Williams window.
we did. We did them all.
Got
I do want to point out, Mr. Chair, actually, you guys have on other business, your lighting provision.
How's that going, Angus?
I'll make a motion to approve,
Approve what?
submit it as it reads now, isn't it? I mean, it's pretty straightforward. There's a box to check and it says follow the,
Can I see that again? I mean, not now. Let's do this one more week, I guess. I just haven't seen the latest version of it.
Yes, if you could send to me as well.
Have I? Did you send it?
I thought Brooke sent it the week after we talked about it. He was so.
Well, I sent it out and then it came back from somebody and it went back to everybody.
We don't have to name who it was, but why did it come back?
I don't know, but I think there was some grammar issues that I had with what came back to me. And so I'm trying to come up with a way to put it all together.
Well, let's look at the final version.
Yeah.
Which is not finalized yet.
No, of course not.
So we'll keep it on then.
So look at the latest iteration.
Mr. Chair, just wanted to mention briefly on the agenda as well, we have the Coastal Resiliency Plan's second open house. This will be virtual with the consultants Arcadis. If you participate in the first one, it's going to be pretty much similar. If you haven't, it's a great opportunity to get involved with the coastal resiliency planning. They're halfway through. They're projected to have an actual plan by this fall. So
Cool.
Good stuff happening.
Yeah, very good. Thank you. All right. Looks like we're
I'll
done.
make a motion to approve the comments.
Oh, yeah. Thank you. Brooke, second.
Seconded.
All those in favor, Brooke and Angus?
Aye.
Hey,
Aye, and I'm an aye too.
motion to adjourn.
Seconded by
I
Ian.
don't know.
I'll second that. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thanks, guys. All right. I don't know if we'll see